when I was in the Army, I wanted to go, I interviewed at 18 Delta, to be an 18 Delta at 5th Group at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And I wanted to go to Sears and go to DLI because I spoke 5 languages. So they said, you're going to go to, Fort Ord. That's where the DLI was back in the days. They called it, what was it called? The Planet or something like that, right? I think it was in Carmel. And so the orders come back. I decide to get out. He gets the orders. He leaves. He ends up becoming Delta for 12 years, loves it, the project, operations, all this stuff. I don't talk to him for many years. I thought something happened to him. Finally, we link up. He tells me what's going on. I said, let's meet up. We go to Madrid. We meet at El Clásico, soccer match between Messi and Ronaldo. And I think at the time when I met him, he was on his 3rd marriage. What is it with this occupation that makes it so difficult to keep your marriage intact?
You can take that one unless you want me to send it. I barely squeak by.
I think the schedule's super challenging. Normally you're gone at least 300 days a year, over probably. We're terrible at communicating, great at bottling everything up. In town long enough to get in a fight, then go out of town, forget about it.
In town long enough to get into a fight with your wife and then you leave.
Yeah. So you never settle anything. You just kind of rinse and repeat. And I think the schedule, our entire time in the military was all war. So you're losing friends, that kind of stress. You're a single mom, working mom, and you kind of travel like a rock star. So you travel like a rock star while they're behind. Well, when 20 of us that look like us walk into a bar, it attracts some attention.
Okay, so because when I went through the recruiting, the guy said to me, he says, go interview 3 guys before you even think about doing this. I said, okay, no problem. So I go in. First guy says, you want to get married and have kids? I said, yeah, absolutely. He says, this is not the career for you. I said, why not? He says, because this is your wife, your career. You're going to be gone. You're going to be traveling. You're going to be Go to the second guy. Do you want to get married and have kids? I do. Well, you're not going to be able to do well. So they're scaring you away from getting married, building a family. Is that also what you guys went through orientation-wise, where some of the guys are telling you about getting married, or they're saying, no, support it, get married, it's fine, it's going to work out?
No, there were definitely rock stars, and you look back at some of the guys, they've been married 20-plus years. DJ, Patsy hitting over 15.
You've been married 20-plus years?
15.
15 years?
So, there are definitely guys that have solid families. It's like, I don't know how they did it. But then there's kind of the reverse where they get divorced a lot. But the support, family definitely came first. But I think the hard part for us was switching it off. That's where we kind of talk about dials and switches. The work required you to be 100% on all the time, and everything else took second.
How'd you make it work? 15 years.
I didn't. I married a unicorn. That's the only reason. I was an idealist. I grew up in the SEAL teams. My dad was a SEAL. The only male influence I had my entire life were Navy SEALs, and most of them were divorced. And that was just the culture. This thing comes first. You come home, drop off a bag of dirty laundry, grab new clothes, and leave again. And that's exactly what I did. I got really fortunate because my wife was already married to a SEAL. Unfortunately, he was killed. So she'd been through the entire gambit already. And I think that was a lot of my hesitation, is I didn't want to stop doing that job. Training's so hard, it's so long, it's so arduous, you don't ever want to leave it. It's like, you're playing professional sports. I don't want to take any time away. Mm-hmm. As soon as I leave, I can't give you any bandwidth right now because it's not going to help me overseas. You have to start compartmentalizing, and that just builds up a resentment time and time again. And when you come home, you're so stressed out. 2-hand texting, you're in the group chat, I've got to get ready for this trip. You're missing ballet recitals and anniversaries and birthdays because none of it truly matters at that point because you're trying to lay a foundation. And unfortunately, you realize you're never going to have that foundation you want. You just keep adding layer after layer after layer, and you never build in time for them. So that's why we do talk about dials. If you're brand new guy that gets on a team, and you have no external commitments, no wife, no family, no picket fence, no Labrador, I can roll that dial all the way to a 10, and I can be that Kobe Bryant. I can live this one thing at 100% until I do have a rock-solid foundation. Then I add in a girlfriend that turns into a fiance, but I have to operate on dials. And for us, we just rolled that whole thing over and never backed it off. Now we just started stacking stuff on top of it. And it's really hard to split your time and focus. And a lot of them, they're just not meant to do it. Guys marry their high school sweethearts. You've never been apart for 2 weeks before. And now you're gone for 9 months.
How do you do that? I mean,
You love that job so much, you literally just wall it off. You don't even think about it. I never thought about it.
You just compartmentalize it. Both of us, our firstborns, we both left on separate deployments 3 weeks after they were born. And both of those deployments that we were on were probably our worst. So we came back to a 5-month-old and just super kind of torn up from the deployment too, and not easy.
how was it for you with your father if he was a SEAL? So was he gone all the time and you still had a relationship with him?
All the time. Gone.
He's still your hero, though.
I mean, up until a certain point he was. I mean, when he graduated BUD/S, my mom was 9 months pregnant with me. So his entire time in the SEAL teams, I was with him. But he's just gone. I mean, I think he did like 13 deployments, each one 6 months long, and there's no break in between. 6-month workup, home for a while, gone, 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 and then all the training trips in between. Everyone's a 2 or 3 week trip. You're home for 2 days, geared up, send it again, send it again.
From the day you were born till you were, 13, how often would you see him?
If you went combined total, less than 3 months out of the year.
Less than 3 months out of the year you see him.
Yeah.
But it still made you want to be a SEAL?
Well, it's the only thing you know. And when you come home, you have him, you see all the guys, and you've seen a movie, Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen. That was my childhood. That is exactly what I grew up with, and I loved it.
Who was Charlie Sheen?
I mean, he was one of the officers, but I mean, just not everybody that was in that movie, that represented what the 90s Navy SEALs were like. Drinking, partying, training, deploying, just over and over and over again. And it became infectious. To us, I'd walk right past the Rolling Stones or some high-level athlete just to get near a commando. They just have such a polarizing presence, you just can't get away from it. So when you grow up with it your whole life, that's the only thing you want to emulate. I just want to look like that. I want the tattoos. I want to look like that. I want to be able to perform like that. And that's just what you chase.
Your wife, her first husband passed away. He didn't make it. So was she part of a family, military family growing up? How did she marry 2 SEALs?
Her dad was a SEAL.
Oh, so that, okay.
Uh-huh.
So that makes a lot of sense. So then, you know what it reminds me of? You ever seen a movie with Mark Wahlberg where it's him and Jennifer Aniston, and I think he's a rock star, and maybe the movie is called Rockstar. Is it called Rockstar?
It is.
And then they have the 2 buses, and the other wives are training her on what it is to be married to a rock. Do you remember that whole scene? You're like, look, here's what's going to happen. This is normal. This is what it's like. Sometimes you're going to wake up. It's going to be weird. And then there's this one scene where they wake up in the hotel. What did we do last night? I don't know what happened last. Is it almost a little bit of that where you have to know who you're marrying to know what comes with the territory? Like some of these things that come with the territory?
I think, yeah, because a lot of the guys, Cole married one of his high school sweethearts too. She's never been exposed to it. So when you get in around those people, they knew you when you were in high school. They knew you when you were 21 years old. Now you leave for 4 or 5 years, you rekindle that marriage, and you are a completely different person. Your mannerisms, the way you carry yourself, the people you associate with, everything else is different, and they don't know how it happened. And then a lot of them, they don't see it until it's too late. Like, now we are married. And it's like, this is not the guy he was in high school. He can't be. You can't be because of the job you have. You have to elevate and you have to transform. You can't be that same guy and do that job at 100%. There's no way. It takes too much.
That is wild. So what advice do you guys give when guys are coming to you? What do you tell them? Do you say get married? Do you say don't get married? What do you tell them?
Don't get married.
Don't get married.
You tell them don't get married.
I tell them don't get married until
past 30.
You've done at least 4 years. Optimally, you've done 8 years. 4 of those completely single, just isolating, polishing your craft. Now you find her, you test her out, meaning you make her do a couple deployments as your fiance. That way, if it doesn't work, there's no divorce, there's no strain on the force.
Define doesn't work. How do you check if it doesn't? Because I remember in the Army, like if you're in the Army, there was stories you would hear where a guy would come back 9 months later, he finds that his wife's with somebody, and hey, you leave the broom outside. There was this whole, I don't know if you remember these different things. I don't want to kind of give some of those stuff away. And guy would come out one day, this guy, I won't say his name, but I clearly remember this. You go to the hotel, he walks in and he sees it. He's devastated. He's going through suicide watch. He's not talking about it for 30 days. How do you test it out when you're gone for that long? What do? Do you have a friend come and check him out? Do you say
MySpace.
to the club owner, was she at the nightclub? How do you check them out? MySpace?
MySpace ruined DJ's life.
MySpace. This is
What happened to me, dude?
what happened with MySpace.
Same thing. I was dating my high school girlfriend, went over to Iraq. I'm 19 years old. We're stormtrooping through Baghdad, doing the whole thing. And I didn't even have an email account at the time. I mean, I set up a Hotmail in 2005 when we were over in Iraq. And then MySpace popped up, made a little profile. Nobody knows what it is. The social media is not even a thing yet. You type in different names. I type my sister's name, it pops up. Type in random people's names, they pop up. I type my girlfriend's name, hit enter. It pops up. She's got a profile. I'm like, oh, this is cool. It's got a little bio, like, this is my name. I'm crazy in love with my boyfriend. His name's Brian. I'm like, my name ain't Brian. Like, looking around, like, what is
You're
it?
joking.
No, the whole thing. She'd been dating a guy living in my house the entire time I was supported.
Stop it.
Oh, no, really. So what do? Call him. Better pack your shit and get out of my house right now. Never talk to you again. But it's the same thing. Like, they'll start complaining about the deployment cycle being gone. You're not making enough time for me. I can't. I don't have Wi-Fi. And then it just becomes a huge burden, a huge mental taxation. It's like, is this improving my performance overseas? No. Well, I got to get rid of you. Get away. Or you marry a unicorn like my wife, who's just an absolute gangster. She gets it. And I can count the times on one hand.
That's tough to marry somebody like your wife, whose father was like, it's like marry, a guy. I'll never forget my wife. We're getting married. I take her to meet different wives to shape the mindset of, do you know who you're really marrying? And the best person that she sat down with was our pastor's wife, okay? And she goes on, spends time with him, and she says, are you ready to share your husband with the world? And she says, what do you mean? She says, well, look, my husband runs a church with 20,000 members. Guess what? Everybody wants to talk to him all the time. Call, this person died, funeral, this, that, wedding, this. Are you ready? Because that's what's happening with you. He says, well, yeah, I guess I'm okay with that. So, well, let me tell you my 10 affirmations. And she starts kind of going through the affirmations. And then, sometimes your husband's going to come home. You're not in a mood to do anything. If you ask for it, you got to find a way to make the time to please you. All these things that she's going through. She comes back. I said, so how did it go? Well, she said this, she said that. I said, this is a rock star wife. This is great, right? It's like shaping the mindset of it, right? She had it. But it's tough to find somebody like that.
It is. And you really saw in the old school guard, I say the wives that really cut their teeth during GWAT during the early days, no support, brand new in the war, we didn't know what was going on. Deployment cycles just kept increasing over and over. So you've got this batch of, a couple hundred wives that are really, really bought in. And then you get this new generation start to spill in, and they've never seen it before. It's really nice to be able to bounce it off the old. So you check in as a brand new guy, and you've got your platoon chief with 7 deployments, and he's got his wife who's done 9 total. She's like, this is what it is. He's never going to tell you what it's really like. This is what it is. You are on your own the entire time.
Did you ever meet Brian?
I didn't meet Brian, but I did. We'll have to talk about that off camera. Yeah, I played a little prank on Brian.
You did play a prank on Brian. Okay, I think some happened with Brian. Well, listen, thank you, MySpace, for the recon and the private investigative work you did.
Hey, what's going on, guys? DJ Shipley and Cole Fackler from GBRS Group. I want to talk to you real quick about my neck.
Retired Navy SEALs, entrepreneurs, and co-founders of GBRS Group.
Cover everything from flat range shooting, mental health, mental resiliency, physical education, anything you guys really want to drop into. Search us on Connect, find us on there, and I'd love to connect with you guys.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk soon.
If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.